Jellyfish season.
Nicholas left his scooter on the empty side of the road at a way down to the sea. The path was very steep. He fought his way through a heavy thicket, crawled cautiously down the boulders, hanging on the gnarled roots that stuck out of the ground. Down there he took off his sneakers, threw them on the coastal sand, and rested his hands on his knees. His plump face flushed, his forehead was pouring with sweat. His belly, big enough as it is, inflated so much with each breath that it seemed that Nicholas was an air balloon and that he was about to take off. The fatty man was sweating and had still not recovered his breath, but felt fine. It's the beach. More like a postcard picture rather than a beach. I come here and it lightens my soul. No worries. He buried his feet in soft white sand. Just like powdered sugar, except it's not sweet. Nicholas found this place on the third day of his vacation when he traveled to the southern end of the island, to a fishing village, to take a look at the sea gypsies. The local residents did not make a strong impression on him, though. Nicholas expected to see the wild people of the sea, a land untouched by civilization. But he was greeted with rows of stalls, festooned with pearl shells and other trifles, in houses with home satellite antennas and metal roofs. At each doorstep there sat a man or a woman. They smoked cigarettes and followed the stranger with their drunken eyes. On his way back, he noticed a sign nailed to a tree. No text, nothing but an arrow inviting to a dense jungle. The way down, all stones and bushes would trouble even a young athlete, to say nothing of such a clumsy big man like Nicholas. The almost indistinguishable trail ran along a rocky slope, winding among the trees, disappearing and appearing again. Nicholas was even thinking to turn back, but he was too tired to climb up. Once he almost fell. He stumbled on a root and barely kept his feet so as not to crash down from the cliff. Finally, the bushes parted and a tiny bay opened up before him, sandwiched between the karst rocks. The sea was glistening not far away, emerald in the shallows and juicy blue at the horizon. The beach was deserted. Nicholas decided that tourists did not come here because they always needed beach chairs, drinks, umbrellas, but here there was just a naked shore, not a single restaurant, and a difficult descent. But that was all he needed. To have a bathe away from prying eyes. Nicholas loved to come here every morning. He undressed, satisfied that no one looked at his body, and rushed into the water, which was as pure as glass. He swam far away and could still see the bottom of the sea through the thick turquoise and coral gardens on the bottom, and elegant fish floating in a dance. He dived and was a guest at this underwater party as long as he had enough air into his lungs. Yesterday, Nicholas bathed until nightfall and would have bathed all night, but he was stung by a jellyfish. It spreaded its tentacles all across his belly like a lash of a whip. It burned a lot, but not for long. No big deal. Actually, he would not even think of it now. Nicholas had already recovered his breath and was going to take off his clothes, but suddenly saw the same slippery little fellow as the one yesterday. It was washed ashore by a strong wave and was lying on the water's edge, pale and dull, more like a wrinkled plastic bag. Nicholas came over and bent down to take a closer look. The jelly body had not yet dried out and almost imperceptibly twitched. Nearby lay another one, transparent too. And another one. And yet another one. And one more. The whole beach was scattered with jellyfish. There were all kinds of them, hockey puck sized and like an open umbrella, brown with dots and pinkish red. Here comes a blue one. He had never seen those before. Nicholas was walking on wet sand, examining each. Strange creatures, so beautiful and so helpless. Nicholas looked up. Directly above him there stood a cliff covered with thick woods. The sea licked its smooth boulders. In the shade of Casrianos, there was a white towel. What the? Nicholas was taken aback. This beach belonged to him, right down to the smallest grain of sand. No one has ever showed up here. But today someone came over and spread out a towel on the sand. An open notebook and a pen lay on the towel. Nicholas looked around in search of the owner. The sea was deserted. He picked up the notebook, shook the fallen fir needles off. The page was covered with smooth, beautiful handwriting, like in a calligraphy worksheet. Nicholas read a few lines. Poems in English. He knew nothing about poetry. Among poets, he had heard only about Sarakovsky and Ona Leno. In addition, he had a poor knowledge of English, but still he had no doubt that he was reading poetry. Written from the girl's perspective, seemingly about death.
We are not afraid of death, because dying is more painful than death. We are not afraid of ghosts, because we have always heard footsteps and things, fall randomly and move. We are not afraid of giant suckers underground, because it's just ridiculously, where is the giant suckers underground? Are we afraid of dogs? We are not afraid of dogs, because they are vampires and they know how to talk. We are very boring, and that is indeed a fact, my friend. We are a little afraid of music because it looks scary. We are afraid of the world because the world is like an irritated older brother. Sometimes we are afraid to live. Sometimes we want to stand in front of a mirror and ask, "You're joking, right?" Nope, we're not joking. We're afraid of mirrors. We love spiders. We love ice cream because it makes our kisses sweeter. We also put salt on fruit. First we taste it. And if it needs salt, then we will salt it. We love to bang our heads against the table. We are not afraid to love. Love inevitably ends in pain. And we were so often hurt, my friend, that we fell in love with pain. I am gone like a sea wave, broken by a breakwater. I am gone like a sea wave, broken by a breakwater. I am gone like a sea wave, broken by a breakwater. I am gone like a sea wave, broken by a breakwater. I am gone like a sea wave, broken by a breakwater. I am gone like a sea wave, broken by a breakwater. I am gone like a sea wave, broken like a breakwater. I am gone like a sea wave, broken by a breakwater. I am gone like a... Well, what do you think of it?
She stood beside him, barefoot in a wet pale blue sleeveless dress. Appeared out of thin air. Tall. Volleyball player, probably. With her blonde hair stuck to the face and her hands covered with goosebumps. Sorry. I did not want. He put the notebook back. He ran his hand over his bald head. She seemed to him very beautiful. Her eyes blue and clear like a glass cleaner.
You always take other people's things without asking?
No. Sorry. Nicholas looked away. The beach was littered with jellyfish. Poor things perished under the mercilessly blazing sun. He had never seen so many jellyfish. I must apologize and leave, thought Nicholas. Behind the rock there is another beach. It's worse than this one, of course. A lot of sharp rocks at the bottom of the sea, and the water is not so clear, while here you can swim very far and still see the fish.
Where are you from? Your accent is weird.
Finland. And you?
I'm not from here too.
She spoke slowly and casually. Australian, suggested Nicholas. There are a lot of Australians here.
Well, what do you think of my poems?
Very beautiful.
I used to write a lot when I was a child. Then I stopped, and now started again.
It's good.
Really? I started recently. And how do you like the line about the wave? I am gone like a sea wave, broken by a breakwater. Not bad, right?
Beautiful poem.
I guess I'll rewrite them. These lines seem to be worse than others.
Nicholas kept silent. He was bad at poetry. He stood, fat and sweaty, stroking his bald head, and tried to remember how to say in English, "Thank you so much for the conversation, but unfortunately I have to go. I wish you all the best." Today the beach was hers. The girl had wonderful blonde hair. They had already dried up. Nicholas was surprised how quickly the day came.
But it does not matter. They will never be published.
Why? You are good. I like your poetry. I know they will be published.
No, don't say so.
They will be published.
Do you really not understand?
I do not understand. You are a good woman. I have to go. Thank you. Waves kept throwing more jellyfish on the shore. Crystal bodies melted on the sand under the crazy sun, and she suddenly sobbed.
They won't be published because I am dead.
I'm sorry, my English is bad.
Come on. Your English is good.
Thank you. I understand a little but speak badly.
I'm dead. I died a month ago. I fell off the walk.
The girl showed on the karst cliff hanging over the sea.
From there opens a beautiful view. I wanted to see the sea beating against the rocks. There's a viewpoint, but no fences. I stumbled and boom! I slammed down on the bloody stones.
It is sad.
You know what's really funny? Now they want to put a fence there, so that no one falls down.
That is good.
No. The funniest of all, I did not even want to be here. Well, I did of course. I wanted to travel and thought, why not become a volunteer?
What?
Volunteer. My friend did that and she liked it. She taught children English in a rural school somewhere in Indonesia. Maybe it was Malaysia. I don't remember, but certainly not here. I speak too fast, don't I?
No. Okay.
Anyway, I thought I could manage. I thought that this was my calling. The point of life. I came here and the island is wonderful. All these beaches, parties, alcohol and buckets and people. Especially people. But you know, I don't get on well with children. Why would I think it was my calling? I don't like children.
Children are strange.
You bet. But I'm grateful to them. Grateful to this place. It was here that I realized I wanted to be a poet. Would I understand what I want from life if kept on vegetating in Sydney? I wrote poetry as a child and then stopped. I'd forgotten how great it was. My only regret is I died so silly.
Yes.
But well, that would do too. Being a ghost, I mean. Do you agree? It's quite peaceful. Nothing hurts. You're not afraid to die. The only bad thing is that they won't publish my poems. I would like to publish a book.
She paused and looked at the transparent jelly hills that flooded the shoreline. You're a good poet. It's time to go, Nicholas thought. He didn't know English well enough to continue the conversation. This is her beach. She writes poetry, she can't be distracted. Besides, the sea is teeming with jellyfish. I should leave her alone.
What about you? Who did you want to become?
I work in a large company. Manager.
No, I'm speaking of another thing. Did you have any passion? Something you really like to do? You don't understand me, do you? How would I explain? This is not work. What possesses you? Maybe swimming? Breeding fish? Do you like to breed fish? Well, certainly not to learn languages.
Tree. I loved a tree when I was a boy.
Tree?
Yes, I loved. He waved his hands. I do not remember the words.
Plant trees? To look at trees? Chop them? You look like a lumberjack.
No. Nicholas put forth his hand and began to wave it over his other hand. Knife. Knife, knife. The girl nodded.
I understand.
Sorry, I do not know how to say it in English.
I understand you. As a child, you liked joinery. Any tables, stews, huh? Hey, it's great. Awesome.
Nicholas smiled.
I saw you yesterday. And before that, you come here every day.
Nicholas felt embarrassed and blushed. Yesterday he swam without trunks, convinced that apart from him and sand crabs there was no one else on the beach.
You were stung by a jellyfish. I heard you cry out in the water. It must be very painful.
Nicholas shrugged his shoulders. No big deal. At first it burned, but went away quickly.
Show me the bone.
He said nothing.
You hesitate to undress in public, right? You're ashamed of your body? I saw you have a great body. Come on, please, show me the bone.
Nicholas lifted his shirt. Thin markings similar to a red thread crossing the skin from the left side of his body to the navel.
Wow.
No pain.
Nasty creatures, the jellyfish. Ugh.
They are beautiful.
No, there are a lot of them here. Poor weak things. They simply obey the flow, drifting aimlessly in the water and satisfied with what they have. Like many people though.
You are a poet.
Maybe you were stung by a sea wasp. They come here from the coast of Australia. These ones pale blue. In Sydney, I saw a lot of them.
Nicholas felt irresistibly drawn to sleep. He didn't have a really good sleep all these days. He went to bed after midnight and got up at dawn, rushing to the beach. The girl sighed and shook her head.
Their venom is deadly. It's a pity that you had such a stupid death.
Excuse me, but I do not understand.
Of course, you think that I say nonsense. I also didn't realize that I was dead at first. I crashed down the rocks, swam out and thought, my lord, how lucky I am to stay alive. And then they decided to put a fence there, to prevent anyone else from crossing down.
I have to go. Thanks for the conversation.
I saw you sink. You didn't manage to reach the shore. A heart attack, probably. The poison is very fast.
Goodbye.
It's hard to accept, but I will help you. Stay with me.
The whole beach was littered with jellyfish. The girl stared at the fat man. Nicholas caught in her eyes some kind of painful cheerfulness. He wanted to look away but could not. The girl giggled sheepishly and pulled a strap off the shoulder. And the other one too. She took off her dress. The blue cloth fell in the sand.
Stay with
Stay.
me. Stay. I'm all you need. Stay. Stay.
Nicholas stepped back. He was scared. He took another step back. The stranger laughed and followed him. Nicholas turned and ran off with all his might. The trail was incredibly steep. Nicholas climbed the hill, grasping at the roots and branches. Sweat dripped from his creaks. He was climbing up the wide highway without looking back. His scooter was standing on the edge of the road. Nicholas pulled his helmet on and drove north to the hotel. In his ears, drowning out the whistling wind, rang the sharp girl's laughter. Back in his room, the fat man lay down on the bed. He was dying to sleep. This girl is crazy. It seems that her boyfriend left her. He met a girl from the locals, some masseuse, so she went crazy. Nicholas wasn't a big connoisseur of poetry, but he suspected that poets were sensitive people. I in the navel. Ha ha ha. I definitely need to sleep more. He dreamt that he was a jellyfish. Nicholas rocked in the water like a silent bell. He wanted to sail far away, but the sea did not let him go. The powerful stream pushed Nicholas to the shore under the fierce sun, and he was sailing wherever the water told him to. So helpless. And so beautiful. Nicholas woke up in agony. The skin on his belly was burning. The day was drawing to a close. One after another, the bars opened. The waiters were sweeping the floors and arranging the chairs. I have to buy the ointment for burns, Nicholas thought. I must find out how to say ointment in English. His vacation was ending soon. The day after tomorrow, Nicholas would board the plane to Helsinki. The first thing he would do was to go to the construction market, or maybe even a carpenter shop, and buy some planks, linden, or aspen. Then he would visit his parents and ask for the key to the garage. In a dusty corner where his father keeps the old magazines and a deflated rubber boat, he would find a box with chisels, jigsaws, and cutters and put on the apron. When he was a child, he was very fond of wood carving. It's not too late. I'm alive. I'm alive, aren't I? How lucky I am to stay alive.